What's up, my three people, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're back on Apex Legends, and we have a new weapon guide here. And it's going to be a weapon guide for the new C.A.R SMG. Got a really nice skin here. And of course, it's the new weapon that has came in with Season 11 Escape, and I think it's become one of the best SMGs in the game. Probably right up there with the Volt. It's just really good and really fun to use. Great for damage dealing and getting those high damage games, honestly. Now, it's been a few weeks into the season, so I think everyone would have had the time to get used to this weapon now, but I'm still going to give a little bit of a guide on this weapon, or whatever. So let's first start off with kind of its damage stats. It does like 10 in the leg shot, I think, 13 body shot, and a 20 headshot. Its hip fire, it actually has some really good hip fire, to be honest. Now let's check out its magazine capacities. The level 1 mag, it can carry 22. The base mag is 20, by the way. Level 2 mag, we have 24. And a purple and gold mag is 27 shots. And the unique and one of the best things about the C.A.R is that you can swap between heavy ammo and light ammo with this thing. And another really good part is that you can literally use either a light mag or a heavy mag, even if you have heavy or light mode on. So yeah, it's really cool and interesting in that sense, and it can be really useful, especially in like those fights where like you run out of all your ammo and you need an ammo to swap to. So yeah, it's a really cool feature that the C.A.R SMG has. And now I'm gonna try to get into some tips or some situations with this weapon. Now the C.A.R SMG, it's not like its Titanfall 2 predecessor or whatever. It has a bit of recoil. Its recoil is not as consistent or as, I guess, easy to control as it was in Titanfall 2. Let's actually show its recoil right now. So it basically goes up like that, and then it kind of goes like that, and it's pretty hard to control. I would actually say it's the hardest to control out of all the SMGs, to be honest. But if you keep practicing this weapon in like the firing range, or just use it a lot more often, then you will for sure master the recoil of this weapon. Because it has like such high recoil, it's something you want to be using up close and personal. I'd probably say a range like that is really good, or even something like this. You could always like try to practice it a little bit of longer ranges in the firing range. I do this one sort of warm-up where I like try to beam the target from here, and I try to at least one clip the dummy, but it's not really possible. Well, it is possible, but you're really gonna have to try to get a feel for the recoil. I still can't really control it like at far ranges, but yeah. C.A.R SMG you want to be using up close and personal pretty much when you're fighting up against other enemies, so it's really good for the close range engagements, and the hip fire also gives it some good close range potential. So like I said, its hip fire is a lot more consistent than its ADS recoil, pretty much. And yeah, use it in like any situation where you're up close, and make sure you have a long distance weapon with you as well, because it really complements the C.A.R. And yeah, I think that's all for like situations. Just up close engagements are where you primarily want to be using this thing. Now let's try to get into some warm-ups on how you could get better with this. Now, I always do the usual warm-ups where I go around and like shoot down the dummies and try to one clip these targets right here. This one and this one. And just try to dump the entire magazine out on the target. And be sure to swap between sights when you're doing this as well, because it's nice to get your aim like well adapted to pretty much all of the sights, just in case if you can't really find the one that you want. And it'll also help with practicing the C.A.R because of its recoil. And yeah, and the other warm-up, let's go over the other warm-up I was talking about earlier as well. So this was actually a warm-up I learned from another YouTuber, Floating Koala. You pretty much do this, get it 2 times, Well, he did this with the R99, but you can do the same thing with the car as well, and I actually recommend more with the car since its recoil is a little bit worse than R99. So you start off here, and then you back up a little more like this. Then back up right here. And here. And then of course, go right back here, and this is the thing I mentioned earlier. And you don't have to try it in one clip, but it's nice if you want to try. I'm not going to try to do it right now though, because I don't want to waste too much time, and I think I've already been wasting a little bit of time. But anyways, yeah, that's one of the big warm-ups that I recommend, is just going around shooting dummies and these two targets, swapping between sights, and do that little warm-up I was just mentioning earlier. Yeah, those are going to be really useful with helping with its recoil or whatever. Now I'm going to get into some recommended sights right now. Again, this is not the most important part because it comes down to personal preference, but I really recommend using the 2x bruiser on it because it really challenges the recoil. It can help, especially if you're at a little bit more of mid-range to a little bit of a longer range. So it will help you get used to the recoil a little more. It'll help you become a beaming machine with it. And you could probably do the same thing with the 1 to 2 times variable hollow sight if you feel like doing that. And I also do recommend using the C.A.R Classic because that little dot in the center, you really want to be precise with it. And it's just naturally a good sight in general. Digi-Threat, I always recommend Digi-Threat pretty much for an SMG. But for learning purposes and getting used to the recoil, I would say the 2x bruiser is the way to go when using this thing. Now let's try to get into some recommended weapon loadouts. Like I said earlier, it's best to have a longer ranged weapon with the car, especially on Storm Point, where there's a lot of verticality, open space, and whatever. So I really recommend using like a marksman weapon, such as the triple take and the C.A.R SMG. Oh, whoops, wrong weapon. There we go. So yeah. And the triple take has become is back into the meta this season because it's no longer aired in the C.A.R packages. So it's really cool to use this with the C.A.R SMG. That's pretty much the meta, I guess. You can also use the C.A.R with the Rampage. You're going to want to make sure that you have light ammo though when you're using the C.A.R with the Rampage. You got two full auto weapons. One can be used really well at longer ranges, while the other can help you when you're, oh whoops, I took the wrong weapon again. And the other one is good for up close engagements. And this is another loadout that I think is really good. Let me get a magazine real quick. Another combo that I really like, and I've actually gotten a couple of 2K damage games with, is R301 and the C.A.R. You're going to want to make sure that you have your C.A.R using heavy ammo and your R301 using light ammo. And you're going to want to use the R301 at like mid-range, while the C.A.R you bring up close and personal. I really like that loadout. It's personally my favorite so far this season, so I recommend it. You could also, if you're not a fan of the R301, you could swap it out for a flatline, if you wish, or even a hemlock. Hemlock would also really work well with the C.A.R SMG. And you could even use the compound bow with it. And for sure, shotguns for sure would work if you want to be a little more mid-ranged with the C.A.R. And if you're that type of aggressive player that likes to get up there, up close and personal, then a shotgun in the C.A.R will work pretty well. And even the wingman will also work with C.A.R. And a loadout that's pretty strange and actually works pretty well is the R99 in the C.A.R. Both are SMGs, both are pretty similar in the way they operate. And you could also do the same with the Prowler. Pretty much a lot of weapons I think would go well with the C.A.R, including the 3030. Because the 3030 again is another mid-ranged weapon, which will complement the C.A.R being a close-range weapon. Even the snipers will work really well. The RE45 and the P2020, I guess, could work well, but those are not the meta weapons you would want to be using with the C.A.R. And even using, like, the Volt with the C.A.R would be nice. The Volt is a good substitute for the R301, like, in terms of mid-range stuff, since the Volt has that more consistent, easy-to-control recoil. it'll work well with the car. L-Star? I don't know. I think it could work. Havoc I also see possibility with, and the Devotion. Sure, we'll go with that one as well. G7 Scout will also work well with the car because another mid-range weapon with a close-range weapon. Same with the Kraber. Alternating the car? I guess it could work because both are SMGs, but they serve similar purposes. And then the Spitfire. Just don't use that. I'm kidding. You can use it since it's like in the care package and it's really strong, but that weapon is just still annoying to me. But yeah, I think the car has a lot of possibilities with multiple different loadouts, although I do recommend that being your only SMG most of the time, and maybe having your other weapon as an assault rifle or a marksman weapon. Or an LMG, primarily the Rampage. I feel like all of that stuff works well with the car. Which is arguably the best SMG in the game right now currently, because just look at this. It's just an insane weapon. And yeah, I think that's going to be all for this little guide. I hope you did find this somewhat useful when it comes to using the C.A.R SMG. It has personally become my favorite weapon this season. And it's now starting to hold a place in my heart because it's helped me get a couple of high damage games. And yeah, once again, that's going to be all for this video. I hope you did find it enjoyable and informational. If you did end up enjoying it, then be sure to give it a like. And if you're brand new here to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, be sure to join the Discord server. The link will be in the description below. And I have a Guilded server too, so if you have Guilded and you're looking for any servers to join on there, I'll leave a link to that in the description for you as well. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/TheRealNEX and follow my Instagram at TheRealNEX.gg. Yeah, once again, that's going to be all for this video. Let me know what you think about the C.A.R SMG in the comments section below, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.